All right, Chapter 2, Attention Collection. Um, I'm reading Life's Too Short to Pretend You're Not Religious by David Dark, and this is Chapter 2. I just finished reading it a little bit ago, and I was sort of kind of collecting my thoughts, and I was collecting them. I think what I got out of this chapter is that we all have, I guess, the basis of the chapter, at least as I took it, was that we have things that we give our attention to in our day-to-day routine, or the things that we come back to over and over again, the things that we, I think, as a society, there are things that we worship. Like talking about religion in church, as I grew up, I always thought of worship as we walk in, there's a song, and we sing the song, and that was worship. And I've read the Bible my whole life, and I still do. And there are different talks about acts of worship. Romans 12, 1 and 2 talks about not conforming yourselves to the world, and talks about a true act of worship. And a lot of our worship, you see it in the things that we focus our attention on. The thing that we, at least the basis of this chapter, is that the things that we give our attention to and that we relay are part of our religion. The things we really believe are the things we do, is also the other thing that he mentioned in the chapter. And there was a question, it's like, what are you into? What are the things you're into? And then looking at that, like looking at what you're into, and maybe taking time to think about why you're into that. And is that something that you feel good about, or is that something, and this wasn't in the chapter, but I think a lot of it was just identifying some of those things and then being open to sharing them, sharing our attention collections with other people. I think Facebook, Twitter are a part of that. We share things because we're into it, and we want to connect with people on those things. And I think that's a big part of my life, is wanting to connect with people. And I found that I connect with people on a deeper level when I connect honestly and truthfully. So with that in mind, I try to talk about things that I'm really struggling with or enjoying or loving, and those are things that make up my religion. The things that I really believe, the things that I do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. My backyard is an exciting place. So I'd like to hear from you guys too. What are you into, and why are those things the things that move you? I've thought about this a lot recently. I mean, there are movies that truly move me, in a very deep way. And there's movies that are silly that still I find them moving. But I'd say that, there are shows and movies and things that I go back to constantly. And what are the things that you go back to? And then share that. It's my neighbor, Noah. And share that with people, be vulnerable, let people know who you are. And I think that's a part of what this chapter is about, kind of connecting with people, and that our religion a lot of times comes from those things that we do without thinking about it. The habits that we have, good or bad, that form us. So for me, just sharing some of my I value the Bible. I grew up with it. And you know, I've read through it multiple times, and I still read it. I still find a lot of value in it. Um, I I've always loved I've loved music for a very long time. Uh, it was really interesting. He's pointing out. I think the hard thing for me as someone who would, I'd say, identify as a Christian, um, is that for a long time everything was there was a Christian music store. There were all these like sub bubbles that you could stay in, and for me, like a band like U2, made me feel like part of something a lot bigger, because they were Bono, at least when I first understood, was proclaiming to be a Christian and was making this music that I completely just loved and moved me and was very different than, I'd say, most of the earlier Christian music that I listened to growing up. So, and it was a little bit like I had to hide it. It was like, because it wasn't a straight up, Christian band, and I wasn't supposed to be listening to that. And I've come, I'd say I've come out of that a lot. And there's some great artists that are believers that I love, and I grew up with, and they were a huge part of my early musical formation, and then there's Simon and Garfunkel, who to me are also part of my worship experience, and not me worshiping them, but just the music moving me in a way that feels like an act of worship. Or Radiohead, or I Am Legend, like watching a movie that has some redemptive arc. There's something about redemption in movies, where a character changes and is in effect saved, that they go through something and then they're changed, and those are things that I notice and that I want to see over and over again. And I guess some of this chapter is like talking about looking at what are the things that you come back to and you pay attention to. What's in your attention collection, and why is it there, and how does that connect you with other people? And I know I'm rambling. Is really I really love this good book, but I wrote down a few things, and I'll stop. Everyday worship are things that hold our attention, the things that we return to. The things that we are into are the basis of our religion, the things that we're into every day. So if I'm totally honest right now, I play a lot of video games, I listen to a lot of music, I watch a lot of Netflix, I sit around and eat because I have more time than I normally do. So some of those things are part of that. Yeah, I'll stop there. But chapter 2, really good. I think one of my big desires is to connect with people. I want to connect with people, and I think video games is the way I connect with people. I actually enjoy games where I'm doing multiplayer. I've been playing Fortnite, so I find that normally I want to get on because I see there's some other people and I can just talk with them or play with them. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friend Doug. I hadn't played that since I was, I don't know, in 4th or 5th grade, and it felt wrong. When I was a kid, it felt like I was doing something wrong. And now I think it's just a great social gathering. I didn't keep playing. Sorry, Doug. It's hard for me to sit still that long as someone with I probably have attention deficit disorder, which you can probably tell from the rambling nature of this video. But I'm excited going through this book, and I've been excited talking to people. A lot of people reached out to me, and have just said, thank you for sharing what you're going through, and you're welcome, and I'd love to hear what draws your attention, and what are the things that you believe on the deepest level, and maybe think about that, and not just the fact that I've read the Bible, and so I understand lots of these concepts, but what are the things you actually do on a daily basis? And what are the things that you share? How is your time spent? What is the content of your text messages and your Google history search? What is the if we looked at your Netflix choices and your movie choices, and I'm not asking you like to share like all of your your shameful secrets or whatever, but think about that too, and how that shapes who you are and what you believe, and maybe by sharing some of that with someone else too, that can give you some freedom or help you feel known. I mean, that's why like my nerdy friends geek out about whatever cartoon or comic or video game or thing that we're doing. A lot of my musician friends, we're geeking out on music or making music together. And that's obviously a huge part of me too, is making music and writing music. That's how I express some of the things that I can't express with words very well. Music can express it. That's why I've been playing instrumentally every day pretty much during this whole lockdown. I wanted to do something without saying words, but so this is how I'm getting my words out. Yeah, so I'm continuing. I'm finding this fascinating. This is David on the back there, and I've been in conversation with him on Twitter a little bit, and check it out. I recommend the book at the very least. I think there's a point in my life where if I had read this book, I would have, I don't know, I would have started it and just gone, I'm in the place now where I'm open to hearing other people, and hearing what they're about. I think Jesus paid attention to people. He paid attention to people that no one paid attention to. There's a beggar on the side of the street calling on him, and everyone's walking by, and he hears that person. He valued that interaction. And so I'm trying to pay attention to things that maybe seem like, I don't know, like I've ignored them. And why have I ignored them? Why are there people that I've ignored or muted or blocked? Maybe they're saying things that I don't agree with politically. I think another part of my desire is in connecting with people is to get past like maybe the 5-second reading of a meme that they posted and just get down to knowing them as a human. I found that all my political conversations of any worth have happened, 99% of them have happened in person with another human that I have a relationship with. But I disagree with them, but we could talk because we have a basis. Our attentions have been on one another for a while. We've given each other our attention. We know each other. We've been vulnerable in some way. And then we can talk and not feel insulted or hurt when they share something we don't agree with. So I don't know. This is kind of, I don't know if this is veered away from the chapter, but it's where my brain goes, having read it, and it's my heart too, is to connect with people, and to understand why I do what I do and what I believe, and to know it in a deeper level, I guess. And I guess that's a constant struggle, a constant process. But anyway, thanks for being along, everybody, on the journey. And I hope it's cathartic for you too, and useful and helpful and hopefully reassuring that we're all in this together. So anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you later.